when will Starlink be available on Royal Caribbean ships? Right now, they're still just testing it on Freedom of the Seas, Todd. Let's remind everybody here that while we here at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com have done onboard research of Starlink, no joking, I mean, we really have. I sent Nicole to go check it out and test it out, and it works really well on Freedom. So far, Royal Caribbean has not officially said anything about it. They've just been mum is the word with that. So whether or not they move forward with that plan, and it remains to be seen, Todd. It's unknown yet at this point, especially from an official standpoint. I've never cruised before, but what does one do with the valuables when hitting the beaches? Yeah, that's a great question. What we do is we just put, first of all, as we try to limit the amount of valuables we're taking, number one. Number two, we usually have a bag with us, and we'll put it in the bag somewhere. Basically, keep it out of just like sight, right? We'll put it in the bag, put the bag underneath the towel, put the towel and stuff, basically do that, right? Occasionally, most of the time, someone is usually back at the chair with the stuff, but we try to keep it within eye distance of where we are. But I've had pretty good luck with it. There are some things you can buy like on Amazon, Patty. Like there's like these like locking bags that you can do. I mean, that you tie to the chair and whatnot. Maybe I'm just, been lucky, but so far it's worked out for me. So hope that makes sense. We're going to bring 25 people on a cruise. Is there a group rate? There is. It's actually based on, and this may be too late already, Shammy, but the way that groups work with Royal Caribbean, it's not so much the people, it's the staterooms you book. But in order to get a group rate, it's not a group rate. Here's how it works. It's kind of confusing. So there isn't a group rate. Let me back up for a second. If you've got a group, which you definitely do, if you have at least 8 cabins, you can form a group. Now, the thing is, in order to form a group, number one, you have to do this before anyone books a room. Usually through a travel agent, you go through the group's department, and they allocate you those 8 cabins, right? And then if you fill up those cabins, which you would, then it would work. But if you're already booked, you might not be able to do so. But step number one, Shammy, if you haven't done this yet, is work with a good travel agent. Before anybody books, get a travel agent, get them on board with you, get them to set up the group space, and then you work that in there. And then when you book it, whoever's the leader, Shammy, it's called a tour conductor. So basically, who's the lead on it? I'm going to guess in this situation, maybe you. That person, for every block of rooms you get a certain amount of money back towards you. Now, you could use that money and pay down your own room, theoretically getting a free room. You could use that money and give everybody some free money back. You could use it for a variety of purposes. The amount of money depends on the type of rooms they're booking. So if everyone's booking like super duper suites, you're going to get some nice money back. If everyone's booking inside rooms, you're probably not getting that much money back. Matt, but the case is increasing. Do you think Royal Caribbean will reduce capacity? Absolutely not. I don't think so at all. There's no reason to believe so. Cases, remember, from a society standpoint, we're moving on from cases to hospitalizations, right? Cases are going to happen. They're very mild. I mean, even I had when I had COVID on board Serenade of the Seas, I don't think I would consider it a mild case, but it wasn't awful. I wasn't incubated. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I just felt really bad. It was like the worst flu of my life. And listen, unfortunately, I feel like I draw the short straw because a lot of people who have had COVID recently, especially with this new seem to have had it very mildly. My friend Billy from cruisehabit.com, who's actually quarantined on Virgin Voyages right now because he has it. Honestly, I wouldn't even, I guess, their symptoms seem so mild, and I wish I had it like that. But no, they're not going to. So, yeah. Sailing October 1st on alert. Do you think the drink packages may come down in price again before sailing? Maybe, maybe not. But here's my recommendation. If you know you want the drink package, book it now, lock in the price. The price you book online will always be cheaper than on board the ship. Number two, Chuck, if there is a better price next week, next month, September, you can always cancel and rebook the drink package on the cruise planner. No penalty for doing so. So book it now, lock in the price. If there is a better price, you can always cancel and rebook. And if it goes up, you got a better price already. We want to visit St. John, but the excursions are short, only have 45-minute beach time. We're in a port for much longer. Tips for doing it ourselves. Kelsey, before the pandemic, this was a lot easier. I tried doing this recently, Kelsey, and I struck out badly. The problem with doing it yourself is it's very difficult to get to the ferry. There's 2 ferries in St. Thomas that can take you across. One's at Crown Bay, one's at Red Hook. And the problem is where your ship docks, there are taxis, but they won't take you because they're not really taxis. They're trucks. And they just basically want to load as many people on a truck as possible. And since you're probably the only people going to the dock, the ferry, no one wants to drive you over there. And it was a real problem. And we just wasted like an hour and no one would take us. So we just said, forget it, we're not going. So my recommendation is, number one, if you are going to do it, arrange transportation ahead of time, back and forth to take you. Number two, look at the ferry schedule. Red Hook is a shorter ferry ride, but it's a longer taxi ride in St. Thomas. Crown Bay, which is downtown where your ship docks, usually has very few ferries. So look at the schedule, make sure it works your way. When more recently we went to St. John, we did a roller coaster excursion. You're right. It's a really short visit, but it was super easy and convenient. So it's like we were able to go, but it wasn't as long as I would have liked. You got to pick it. You got to pick your battles, right? So that's the issue there, Kelsey. I really wanted to make it work because the first time we ever went, we did it on our own. Went to Red Hook, took the ferry there. It was a fantastic, but unfortunately, the taxi situation there is no bueno. Any tips for traveling with kids on Oasis? My niece Sophia's coming with her on her first roller coaster cruise. She'll be 10 by the time we sell. Yeah, number one, definitely register them on day one for Adventure Ocean. It's like the first day of school. You meet all your friends on the first day, so I'd say go to Adventure Ocean on day number one. That's really important. Number two, there's a lot of cool things for kids to do on board. You know, whether we're talking about the water slides, the pool area, the carousel. There's a lot of fun activities on there that they can really enjoy. I think that is going to be a big part of the appeal of it. And obviously it depends on your niece and what she's kind of looking to do. I mean, some kids really like, you know, like I said, water slides and laser tag and very active things. Some kids want to just chill out. Some kids want to play with their friends. It kind of depends on the personality. But the good news is when you go on a ship like Oasis of the Seas, which has just amazing facilities for kids on board, there's a lot of choices, a lot of good variety there. So Kristen, like, it's one of these things where it's like you don't even have to overthink this one. It's going to present itself for you. But take advantage of all those things. And like I said, Adventure Ocean, at least let her give it a try because it has the new rendition of Adventure Ocean, if you will. That's a little more create your own adventure. If none of this makes sense to you, but trust me on this one. My kids really like that quite a bit. What's your number one suggestion for a first timer? Book with a travel agent. Too late for that. You're going on a cruise, so either you did or you didn't. Number two, do the online check-in. That's really important. Do all the online check. Get the app installed on your phone. Do everything in there. Get that all set up. That'll set you up really, really well. And number three, John, you only asked for one, but you know what? You gave me a super chat, dude. I'm giving you a bunch of tips here. Read a past cruise compass. Go to RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. In our main menu, there's a link to this cruise compass. I don't know what ship you're on, but you can find a recent cruise compass from the ship you're going on. Get an idea of what's available on board. So, how big do you think Royal Caribbean will go with their future ships? It's a great question. I mean, you know, Andrew, if we were having this conversation, you know, back in 1992, when the Sovereign class was huge, I'd be saying, Andrew, what the heck is YouTube? Why are we here? It's 1992. What's the internet? But I'd also be telling you these mega ships, which is what they called Sovereign class, there's no way they'll get bigger than that. And obviously they did. I think there's obviously, that being said, you know, we haven't really seen much in the way, like ships haven't like doubled in size, right? I mean, Oasis class is still the biggest, and Oasis class has been out since 2009. So we're talking about a fair amount of time here. I think logistically, what with the size they've got right now, that's probably where it's going to be comfortable for a while. But sooner or later, I think there's going to be some sort of innovation with that to really push beyond that. So I think inevitably the answer is yes. Now, how inevitable? I don't know the answer to that one. Have you used an excursion company not booked through Royal Caribbean? Yes. It depends on the port. I don't use like one go-to company. For all inclusives, Lindsay, I always recommend resortforaday.com. I do have a relationship. I get a commission if you clicked on a link from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. But anyway, resortforaday.com. Viator is another good one. Shoretrips.com. But usually what I just do is Google the port, like, St. Kitts shore excursions, and see what comes back there. Look for reviews, Lindsay. Just Google whatever provider, the company that you find. Google them and look for reviews there. We have a cabana booked for Thrill Waterpark at Perfect Day at Coco Key. Do we get our own food, or is there a concierge dedicated to our cabana? There is a concierge. Yeah, you have a attendant who will bring you. You order the food, they bring it, which is great. Is tipping customary? Yes. How much? I know that's your next question. Fun Cat really runs the gamut. You know, how many people you have, right? I think you should be tipping a different amount if you have 2 people versus 4 versus 8. But for my family of 4, I think we usually tip about $100 and say that's, unless of course there's reason to tip more, but that's about our going rate right there. But again, just because Matt tips that much doesn't mean that you should tip that much. I'm just saying they'll appreciate whatever you can do. But yes, a tip is customary right there. All right, guys, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. And Jenny, we'll see you on Mariner of the Seas. Bye, everybody.